beware of the bear. Hello, welcome back to the Science of Fallout. It's Emmy the Cat Lady here, and today it's the bear's turn. So, Yao Guai are a somewhat rare but unnerving sight in the wasteland. They're large animals and can be very aggressive and dangerous to an unprepared wasteland wanderer. So where do they come from? Let's get into the details. So firstly, the name. Yao Guai is clearly not an English term. It's Chinese, and the name was given to the bears by people that were held in Chinese internment camps during the Great War in the Fallout universe. The term is often translated as demon, but this doesn't mean the same as it does in the West. In East Asian folklore, they're supernatural creatures and sometimes shapeshifters, which are not necessarily inherently evil or wicked. You might have heard the Japanese term, which is yokai, and that obviously sounds quite similar, and both languages do use the same characters for this word, and the meaning is fairly similar as well. So the Yao Guai and Fallout originate from the American black bear, which is Ursus americanus. This is a medium-sized bear that's found far and wide across North America. They are more closely related to Asian black bears and sun bears than the other bear species found in North America, such as the brown bear and the polar bear, and there are 16 subspecies recognised across North America. Black bears are strong and have been able to flip rocks that are more than twice their body weight, yet their paws are dexterous enough that they can open jars and door latches. They can run at up to 30 miles per hour, and they have good eyesight and can learn to distinguish colours and shapes, indicating a high level of intelligence, at least equivalent to dogs. They average 2 metres in length and just over 1 metre in height up to the shoulders, or the withers as some people would explain that. Their weight can vary drastically depending on the season. They gain a lot of weight prior to their hibernation and lose it again during the winter months. They have a thick double coat of fur with a dense undercoat. The colour can range from white through different shades of brown into black. The average lifespan for a wild bear is 18 years, with the record oldest being 39 years old. The record for a bear in captivity is 44 years old. They are excellent swimmers and very capable climbers, able to climb up trees very well. They tend to forage more at night, but can be seen to be active during the daytime as well, and they are quite territorial. They mark their territory by rubbing against trees and marking the bark with their claws. They do hibernate over the winter. The definition of hibernation has recently been kind of reclassified and adjusted, so it is now considered a true hibernation. So they tend to eat a lot over the fall-autumn season in order to gain up to 14 kilograms or 30 pounds of body fat to keep them going through the hibernation period. And then they stay in their den and their heart rate drops from 40 to 50 beats per minute down to 8 beats per minute. And their metabolic rate drops by 75%, although their body temperature doesn't actually drop that much, staying around 35 degrees Celsius. Their diet is about 85% vegetation, but can include fruit, nuts, insects and fish. They do really like honey. Interesting side note that Winnie the Pooh was named after a female black bear called Winnipeg that lived at London Zoo in the early 1900s. And they will sometimes hunt deer fawns and elk calves, but it's quite unusual for them to take on larger prey. But they will often steal food from human sort of locations and things, so they do sometimes raid campsites and the like in search of food. But their interactions with humans is quite interesting. They do play quite a large role in the stories of some of the indigenous peoples of North America. And interestingly, the inspiration behind the teddy bear toy came from a cartoon of Theodore Roosevelt, or Teddy Roosevelt, refusing to shoot a black bear cub that was tied to a tree, and that's where the teddy part of it comes from. So interesting little aside there. Adult black bears are capable of killing a person, but they generally avoid confrontation. They might posture, make some aggressive noises, but attacks are actually quite rare. The only reason that the number of attacks by black bears is higher than brown bears is just because there's a lot more black bears than brown bears in North America, so it's just really quite proportionate to the population of the different species of bears, and if they do attack humans, it's usually down to hunger rather than being particularly protecting their territory or protecting their cubs. In contrast, the Yao Guai are much more aggressive and inclined to attack you on sight in the fallout wasteland. They are affected by the Animal Friend perk, however, so if you take that perk, then you should be safe. They're quite commonly found living in caves, but they will wander the wasteland as well, and especially at night. They can also reproduce. You do see cubs occasionally, so we know that they are able to breed, and they will also attack other animals, including deathclaws. You do sometimes see them encountered attacking Brahmin. That was something that can happen anywhere where there's a small herd of Brahmin. You might stumble across a Yao Guai attacking them. They are big and strong, and they can do quite a lot of damage to the player using their strong paws, and they have got thick skulls, which means that headshots don't do that much extra damage to them. However, some people have managed to domesticate them. You do encounter this in Fallout 3 in the Capital Wasteland, where some scavengers will have Yao Guai with them as a companion and for protection. There's a unique one that you can find in Point Lookout, and she's called Ursus, and she was a circus bear that has become ghoulified, so bears can be ghouls as well, and she can be encountered, and she has a big red ball, although she will be aggressive unless you're an animal friend. Another unique one is the Ghost of She, which is encountered during the Rite of Passage quest in Honest Hearts, which is a kind of vision quest. She might not be real, but she is on fire and can make copies of herself, and if you do defeat her, then you will get given the unique Yao Guai gauntlet, She's Embrace, so potentially worthwhile doing that quest if you're an unarmed courier, so that's something that is an option. And one thing from the TV show is that the Yao Guai definitely seem to exhibit a degree of intelligence. One of the most interesting instances comes from the TV show when the Yao Guai attacks Knight Titus. If you watch that closely, and you'll notice that the bear goes straight for the assault rifle, it grabs it and rips it out of his hands. And that to me shows that the creature knows that's the weapon, that's what's going to do damage to me. So instead of just attacking blindly, the bear's showing some tactical thinking. It's smart enough to disarm the human first before attacking him, or maybe that one's just smarter than the average bear. Sorry, couldn't help it. I had to fit that in somewhere. I couldn't resist. But bears are one of the more intelligent animals, and I like that that's been kind of highlighted in the TV show, that Yao Guai has clearly fought humans before and won, and perhaps has even countered people in power armour before. So it's an interesting moment to my mind, and it does make the world feel more realistic, because it makes me think that this bear has a bit of a backstory, and that there's a reason that it knew to disarm this guy before attacking him directly. I do also find the concept of ghoul bears quite interesting. It could be that some of the ones that we encounter have been around since before the bombs, although maybe not all of them are ghouls, because we know that they can and do reproduce, but maybe some of them do ghoulify if they've been exposed to a lot of radiation. And there are definitely Yao Guai ghouls present on the island in Far Harbour, so it's not something that just happens to primates like the humans and the gorillas that you encounter in Yucca World. And in Fallout 4, as with many of the creatures, there's quite a number of variants, including the glowing Yao Guai and the dusky Yao Guai. They can be particularly dangerous to encounter for a low-level player, and sometimes I find it quite funny that you can find the beware of the bear signs in campgrounds, and the bear signs have been clawed by bears, but it's quite a commonplace to find these bears, so just bear that in mind. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you found this interesting. If you like this kind of stuff, hit subscribe to see more, and as always, I love hearing your thoughts in the comments. See you all next time. Bye.